Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont. Senator, do you see this in Vermont firsthand?
Absolutely. I live very close to Lake Champlain. Used to freeze up quite frequently. Now it is pretty rare. You talk to the tourist industry, you talk to the ski and snowboard industry. They are worried about the lack of snow. This last year was pretty good. Previous years, not so good. You talk to the maple sugar industry. They are very worried about what climate change will mean to the great maple syrup that I am addicted to, I must tell you, in the state of Vermont.
I wonder if the constituencies that are at the front edge of experiencing this are going to get organized in such a fashion so that they create the kind of political power necessary to counter the folks on the other side, like the fossil fuel industry.
Well, listen, Chris, I think you're quite right. What we're seeing now is what we saw 30 or 40 years ago with the tobacco industry, is huge amounts of money coming into the political process to deny the obvious, and that is that climate change is real. It is causing devastating problems right now. It will only get worse if we don't transform our energy system. And the good news here is that we know exactly what to do. We know that if we invest in energy efficiency and weatherization, we can cut back on greenhouse gas emissions very, very significantly. We can save people money on their fuel bills, and we can create jobs as well. And we also know that the price of solar is going down. We should be investing in wind and geothermal, in biomass, and those technologies are only going to improve. They're only going to become more cost effective. And when we do that, we create win-win situations. We help save the planet, lead the world, get China, India to follow us, and we also create jobs in this country.
If there's a dawning awareness of folks, say, in the maple industry or in the snow tourism industry in a state like Vermont, do you think there's, I mean, you spend a lot of time, you're a relatively small state, and I know you and I know the way you interact with constituents. You spend a lot of time talking to them. Is there a connection in the minds of constituents between climate change is some abstract thing they may or may not think a lot about, and what is happening around them?
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, we had a few years ago this tropical storm Irene, which was the worst extreme weather disturbance we have had since the floods of 1927. Do you think people were not unaware of the impact of global warming? I think all over this country, people are seeing with their own eyes. This is not a theoretical debate. They're seeing with their own eyes what is happening to the planet. You talked about fishermen seeing it. You're talking about the ski industry. You're talking about farmers who see the change, more and more drought. Forest fighters who are now having to combat more extreme forest fires, and more of them than they ever have before. So I think most people who are not under the influence of the Koch brothers and the fossil fuel industry know the severity of the problem and understand that if we do not get our act together and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel into energy efficiency, into sustainable energy, this planet is going to face huge problems in the years to come.
Senator Bernie Sanders, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
A climate scientist and Olympic snowboarder will join me next.
MSNBC is growing hope around the country, giving you the